All right. 12 weeks to peak video today. If you're not in Wes Schaefer's free accountability program and you're a salesperson or you're a business owner, what are you doing? Get over there. Okay. All right. I want to talk about something I read yesterday in an agency group, and it was a question about what are we paying salespeople these days? And they came up with some very high numbers, like 90,000, 100,000. Do we cap commissions? And I was like, whoa, like I have not seen numbers like that for agency owners as salespeople. Okay. And if they exist, please tell me. Give me examples because I'd be very interested in working with those companies. Not to reduce those costs, but clearly they've got enough going on that it would be worthwhile to participate with them in raising the bar. Right? So, okay, first of all, why would you cap commissions? Now, I remember Dan Kennedy talking about this. If you don't know who Dan Kennedy is, he's an OG marketer. Russell Brunson, the ClickFunnels guy, bought all his stuff a year or so ago and has been promoting the hell out of it. Bought the company a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. Anyway, Dan said that he would get clients and they would get mad at him because he would be earning more money than the company president. And the president would get, this is an ego thing, right? But it's stupid. I don't care as the company president if some salesperson is making more than me. That's good for them. They did it. And I set the arrangement up, and I made every mistake under the sun. But if it's a good arrangement for the company and the margins are there and that, keep earning, man. Do it. You're great. So don't cap commissions. I think that's one of the dumbest ideas of all. Okay. Now, what do you price, or what do you pay your salespeople? My answer to that is it's based on the size of the problem that you're solving for your clients, right? And therefore the price of your service. So if you solve a small problem like a fast food lunch, hey, it's $5 to $10, something like that, right? There's not a lot of room in there, right? I think the average order of McDonald's drive-through is way lower than you think. It's like $2 or $1.60 or something like that. Our margin is not very good on that. Okay. Way less than you might think. So you want to be solving a larger problem. If you're solving, as I did for some time, the problem of leads for jobs for commercial roofers for an agency that I worked for, then that's a much bigger problem. And you can charge them $1,000 a month as a management fee, maybe more. Okay. So the commission, though, would come out of that. So you got to look, right? Okay, what's available here, right? Now, I have been a trainer and a consultant and an owner of many agencies over the years. I've been a hired gun sales guy. I'll go on the front line and do sales jobs a lot just to get information, right? Because like that's the best way to hear from the market. Who you got on these calls, right? Half the time, idiots who don't even know why they're there. That's partially the agency's fault. Biz ops seekers who want something for nothing, looking for the easy button. People will tell you, well, I'm thinking about setting up an agency or maybe an Etsy business. You're like, those two things are not even close to being the same thing. What are you talking about? Right. So they have no idea what they're talking about. But the biggest mistake that I've seen owners make over the past decade or so is thinking that commission is enough. Straight commission is enough. It's generally not. Okay. Like there's a number of factors that go on here that are a real problem without a base. Okay. The salesperson's got to sit there and wait during the time that these calls are booked on their calendar. And if they're no shows, which they often are, that time has been wasted. And don't tell me, well, you can just do something else. I am a master of productivity. I have a freaking book about it. Okay. I cannot do anything during those times if it's booked for a sales call. Okay. I can't switch and do something else. And if you claim you can, either you're really different. So I mean, I'm open to the possibility, or my judges, you aren't doing anything very well at all, because it takes those 10-15 minutes plus to switch from one topic to another for our minds to get into the groove. Okay. So don't tell me that you can do that. Anyway, so if those leads suck or they don't show, the time is a total waste. All right. Then the agency owner complains that the salespeople aren't good enough and they're churning through these salespeople, right? But Like what you have to consider as an agency owner is that salesperson needs to eat. They can't sit there forever making no money because of your crappy calls that you're giving them. But you blame the salesperson. It's usually not the salesperson's fault. Okay. Don't expect them to stick around when they can't eat. Okay. Most agencies and most companies that I've seen that say that the salesperson isn't good enough don't have a warm-up sequence. Okay, something by email, some videos, something to educate and excite the lead before getting on the call. Okay, so much time. You have no idea how much time is wasted because of this. Okay, people getting on calls who should never have been able to claim that salesperson's time. There's got to be some qualifying here, and I generally don't see it. No filtering. People who don't even know what the offer is about are getting on sales calls with these salespeople. All right, some setter is out there thinking they're doing a good job, not been giving much direction, and they're saying, "Oh, well, just get on for a strategy call." And the salesperson doesn't know this. They don't know that's the wording. I have seen that so many times. And the lead gets on thinking it's going to be a strategy call, and the salesperson's thinking it's a sales call, discovery call for this product, right, or service, this particular offer. And like, what do you think is going to happen? There's going to be a fight, right, in that situation. There's going to be conflict. Okay. Then we've got the problem of pricing. You've heard me talk about money tolerance. Go and look it up on salestactics.org, the term, or go look in this series. I've talked about it. If you got an agency owner who is afraid to charge and believes $1,000 is a lot of money, well, then you got a problem as a salesperson, okay? Because that problem will go down to you. The possibility of making money and the velocity of being able to make money is so low. If it's 10% on $1,000, it's $100, okay? Not too bad for an hourly, right? But really, if that's what you have to do, like, that's not a good fit for me. I want to make $1,000 out of my sale, right? I want to make at least $700, $800 out of my hour that I just spent talking to this person, right? And I want some laddering. I want some other stuff to be able to sell them down the line, which many companies don't have. They sell like one thing. Okay. Or they sell one thing, but it's chopped up into different versions. And once the person buys the top version level of it, like, there's nothing else to buy. Okay. So you got to think how, and I wrote about this years ago. I'll link to it. Okay. On salestactics.org. I wrote about this so long ago about how to be successful in sales. The math has to work out. Okay. You've got to be able to get that salesperson to X thousands of dollars a month that they need to survive. And if you're trying to plink away at $100 an hour to get to 4,000, right? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay. So my message for most business owners is your opportunity is not so great. It's just not. It's probably not sustainable for a salesperson to stick with you. And this is why you see the churn of salespeople. It's not the salespeople, unless they're just terrible. But and why did you hire them? Do you have no discernment? Maybe you should get somebody like me to have a look at the salespeople candidates you're considering hiring. But no, but this is the stupidest thing that I'm going to just flat out say it, that I see agency owners doing. They think that bringing on a commission-only salesperson has no cost to you. You are wrong. You are so wrong, thinking that a straight commission salesperson doesn't cost you anything. Absolutely, they do. They need your time. They need training time. They need to learn about the product or the offer, right? They need to get integrated into your infrastructure. They need to get email, calendar, Zoom, whatever setups that you're doing, call software, they need this stuff. And every time you churn through that, you go back to 0 on the exponential growth curve. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. You go back to nothing. Okay. So that's just so dumb. In my opinion, if you can't pay at least what I would consider a token base, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, we're starting to get somewhere okay per month, then you're not really in the position to bring on a salesperson. Now, there's going to be people who argue with me saying, I've got a great commission-only salesperson. Well, maybe they have a low money requirement. Maybe they have, these business owners have a good proven warm-up sequence and good pricing and velocity and lead numbers that support all that. Okay. But most of you definitely do not. Now, Here's the good news. Okay. Now that I've crapped all over that, I found that you could pay salespeople far less than what I originally thought. Okay. I've run and co-founded a number of agencies, and I've tried everything. I've done a large base of 4,000 plus commission, and that just sucked. I mean, we had, tens of thousands of dollars in the bank one day and almost none the next, on payday, right? Doing that. Man, we were running sales teams, so we had a lot of salespeople. But if the lead flow from our clients didn't support that, we were screwed. I've done commission only, which is unsustainable, as explained above, even if you could pay them 30% or 50% or something like that. It just wasn't sustainable. The greater margins ground into what the company could make, because there was a cap, there was a ceiling on what you could charge, which I didn't suspect was there, but I found out about it. Okay. So there is price elasticity, but it ends at some point. Okay. And then you're fighting against your salesperson with the margin that you've chosen is just eating up. So commission only wasn't good. A small base plus 5 to 10% commission worked best. Okay. So I want you to consider the mindset of a salesperson here. All right. That base, every dollar of that base is worth $1.50 to $2 of commission dollars. Okay. Stuff that they don't have to fight for. And you might think, well, that'll make them less hungry. No, not if they can't survive at that $2,000 level or whatever, right? Like, I can't survive at 2,500 base, but it sure gives me a sense of relief. Okay. And having your salespeople relaxed and going out into the world and trying to make sales is a hell of a lot better than having them panicking because they got $300 in the bank and they got to make 2,000 in the next week. Okay. Like, what kind of mental state do you think they're going to be in that situation? And that's what most of your salesperson are in. Okay. So you want to give them a sense of relief and a chance to stick around to make it work. All right. Let's talk about this. Most people forget it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get a book of business going. People don't just instantly buy, even on a one-call close. I do a lot of one-call closing. I do a lot of 1.5 call closing as well, though. And you need some time in that gap there. They come on, and even if you've shown them the price in one of the warm-up emails or something like that, or you ask about it at the start, they still don't have it necessarily, right? And they'll be like, okay, I'll get back to you next month, which is in like a week or whatever, right? You need this time to get the business rolling. And so if you're starving as a salesperson and you don't make enough to cover your living expenses at the end of month one because you're on 100% commission, what choice do you have? You have to look for something else. You can't stick around. And so what if it takes longer than 3 to 4 weeks? I had a friend back in Vancouver who worked for Siemens. It was a big mining company, mining equipment. It's 100,000 plus a year job. He got a base. I want you to think about what I'm about to say. Okay. He had a company car. His job was to get one good qualified lead a month. I mean, contrast with the crazy results that you believe that a commission-based hired gun salesperson is supposed to get for you. Okay. And I mean, I've been brought in as a hired gun salesperson and seen that crazy expectation. Well, now everything's going to be great. We got Kanigan on the case. No, if your warm-up sequence sucks and you're getting unqualified people with no money to get on calls to talk about an expensive program that they can't really afford, and they don't even know why they're on the call because they were told it was a strategy call. I don't know it. Right? What do you think is going to happen? You think there's going to be sales there? No, you can't transmute something from one thing to something else in this world. Okay, you can dig and uncover and find reasons for somebody to buy and help them see the value and all that stuff, but you can't turn the turnip into an apple kind of thing. Okay, so just keep in mind that as a founder, you probably have some very foolish, delusional ideas, just like I did about hiring salespeople, okay? So conversions are not going to skyrocket because you brought a good salesperson on board, all right? An average closing rate consistently, month after month is around 20%, okay? Like, you got to get your numbers in gear here. Good, really competent is 30. Okay. That's great. I mean, you would need a great pre-qualification sequence, a warm-up sequence, right? Get them on. They've got the money and they understand the concept. And then the salesperson is there to help them come over the finish line. Okay. That would get you to 30%. And you guys think that it's going to be some magic bullet thing. Like, give me a break. You're just out to lunch. Okay. If you're a founder, there is an intangible called founder fuel that will kick the rates, the conversion rates higher. Okay. But the fact is that the founder, if you're going to grow, cannot remain in the sales role forever. So they have to be ready to back out. And yeah, you won't close at 40, 50% or whatever magic number. I close 80%. I don't really believe you, actually, if you say that, but whatever. But you got to get that founder out of there and then be ready to accept lower conversion rates than what you had, okay, as the founder. So, it's something that I've seen looking inside other organizations. I see inside a lot of other companies. I see good, competent salespeople in agencies doing over $500,000 a year, working for less than $5,000 a month in total. And I'm like, what? It's very strange to me, right? Like, why would you do that? I don't want to be in that fight. I don't want to be like, have that be my math, my equation. They have a low bar to reach and they're comfortable, I guess, and the situation is sustainable enough that they stick around. And I mean, when I say less than $5,000, I mean $3,000, $4,000. Like, I don't know. Is that who you want on your team? Somebody who's content with $36,000 a year? That's, and they're bringing in 300,000. Don't get me wrong, right? Because if they're getting 10%, but it's not the fired up professional that I'm looking for, But again, agency owners, you've got to take responsibility for your warm-up sequence, the state of your leads, the quantity of your leads. Who are you getting onto these calls, okay? Because if the math doesn't support the salesperson making the money that they need, okay, which is often really even low, right? Then it's not going to stick. That salesperson is going to churn. And if you blame the salesperson, you're just off target and you won't be able to fix it. Keep bringing in salespeople. It's not going to fix it, okay? You got to fix the warm-up sequence, the lead generation, who's on these calls, how are they prepared, all right? Okay, that's plenty. That's like a mini course right there. I'll see you later.